Hey, this is Kristin from Airport Improvement Magazine, and I'm here with Martin Jones, the CEO of MAG. How are you, Martin?
I'm very well. Thank you, Kristen. Thanks very much for taking the opportunity to talk to me today.
Let's first tell people what MAG stands for. Manchester Airports Group, is that correct?
That's correct. So our group is called MAG Manchester Airport Groups, like you rightly say. We were a UK-based company with three airports in our group. We're the largest UK airport operator. And we established MAG USA in 2015, and that's when we moved into the US market.
What made you decide to establish in the United States when you already had such a strong presence in the UK?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we're the largest airport operator in the UK, like you say, which is kind of good in lots of ways, but equally means we're wholly exposed to one market. So coming to the US was very much part of a diversification strategy for our group. The North American market offered a great opportunity given the fact it was so large and stable. But at the time, there's also expected a program of P3 opportunities, and they were really appealing to us. So that's why we originally chose the US. And, at the time, we decided to make our market entry strategy about bringing in commercial services like our executive lounges and pre-booking for car parking. And they've been hugely successful. And actually, the P3 opportunities have been fairly slow to mature. But that doesn't really matter for us because when they come along, great, we're here and we're ready. But either way, we'll continue offering our commercial services.
And you yourself moved from the UK to Chicago, which is where you are now, which is a big cultural change. Had you ever done that before yourself?
Never before to the US. I have lived and worked abroad before. So I'd lived in India for a few years. And really with an aviation business, it's very much an international business for sure. So, the need to be able to adapt to different cultures, different locations, I think is important. And of course, there's a number of similarities between the UK and the US, but equally they're very different, particularly when it comes to the aviation market. So I've enjoyed learning about new culture, new ways that business is done. I think some of my previous experience has been helpful in that transition. I was with MAG for a number of years before I came to the US, so I certainly understood, what it took to run an airport. But prior to MAG, I also worked for retail and telecoms companies, and we ran concessions. So I had a good understanding of what it took to be a concessionaire as well. So hopefully bringing all that together means we can be successful in the US.
Now, Chicago is a great place to be, and I have to ask you, what is your favorite Chicago-style pizza?
I do like the deep dish. I've become a convert for the deep dish. I don't know if it's Giordano's or Illuminati's. I don't know which one wins. They're both very good, but we're very lucky in Chicago. The food scene is phenomenal. So enjoying eating my way around the city for sure.
A friend of mine sent me some Lou Malnati's frozen pizzas recently, and now my son is a convert as well.
Yeah, and I can imagine, particularly in the environment that we're living in, it's a great diversification technique as well for restaurants to stay relevant, stay in business, and continue to do well. So
That's right, and that applies to airports as well. So, Martin, I wanted to get your take on what you're seeing in the airport industry right now. Like, what's your take?
well, I mean, it's very, very tough situation, like nothing we've seen before. Of course, the aviation industry's had its challenges, with different um, uh, incidents before this, but nothing of this scale on a global presence or duration in terms of how long it's going on for. So, it's unlike anything we've seen before, and there isn't really anything to compare it to. So, that makes it unique and certainly very challenging for everybody involved.
Now, your company was experiencing a lot of growth before the pandemic. How has that affected your growth as of now?
Well, I mean, 2019 was a phenomenal year for us. We opened 7 lounges in 2019, 6 in the last 6 months of the year. We opened a new concept at Phoenix, which was an escape lounge, which was half escape, half Amex Centurion with a single reception, single kitchen. So that was a new product for market. We launched pre-booking services at Ontario and Burbank for car parking. And we've really proved that the pre-book model works incredibly well in the US like it does in the rest of Europe. And we'd won a number of new businesses for 2020 and beyond. So, it all came to a grinding halt towards the end of March. We, like everybody else, are currently closed in terms of our operations right now. But, that's very much from our perspective a temporary position. We will reopen, we will open bigger and better. And the one opportunity this is giving us is very seldom you get the chance to properly stop and think about your business, your operation, how you want to approach a market, what customers and passengers may want. And so we've been using this time to really rethink how the future might look and get ourselves ready for what is hopefully a very exciting time to come.
I think so. It's definitely there's definitely going to be some new ideas for sure. Can you talk about maybe some of the adaptations you've come up with and some ways that you're working to overcome some of the current challenges?
Yeah, I mean, back around the time we came to the US, we also started a new division in our company back in the UK called MAGO, which stands for Mag Online. And the vision for that was to digitize the entire customer journey at an airport. And so this has been 5 years in the making. That team's about 200 people strong now. And, we think really what has been developed and the capabilities that we've been building are almost perfect for what we think is going to come next. Of course, social distancing at an airport or in any transportation mode, whether that's trains, etc., is going to be very, very difficult. But it's particularly difficult when passengers just show up when they want and how they want. And also, passengers from an airport's point of view are largely anonymous. Airports don't really know who's coming, who they are. They've got most of the relationship with the airlines. And we think now's the time that could change. People who come to the airport, they've got used to booking their flight online, they book their hotel online. Why would they not book their airport experiences online? And what we've been building for a number of years is the ability to digitize that entire customer journey. And the outcome of COVID may make that even more required in the future. So, for example, could it be that customers check their bag in online, they get it collected, maybe it even finds its way to the airport on its own, or even to the end destination? It could be that in the future, passengers have to book a time slot at TSA. They can't all just show up at once. We have to regulate the amount of people coming through. We've been doing this in our own airports for a number of times, more of a fast track premium product, but about 20% of people already book their slot in security. We expect that could extend. And it could well be that, people just get a free time slot if they don't care, when they arrive, or, it becomes a premium product. So it could be a new revenue stream for airports in the US. We already in our airports see 80% of people pre-book their car parking. So we expect that to continue, but we very much expect more people to come by car that want to be in their own transportation method. So, that works well. And, once they get through security and they're into the airside, it's very likely that they may want to pre-book a table in a restaurant or maybe order some food, have it brought to them. That could work for a gating facility where rather than everybody crowding around the gate and hustling, bustling to get on first, maybe passengers are called to the gates in advance on a specific time slot. And, the whole thing goes on. And what we've been building is something called A-commerce. So spin on e-commerce, but for airports. And it's a set of different modules that airports can deploy to digitize different parts of the customer journey, whether that's pre-booking of car park. And we expect, certainly in our own airports, where of course we've got all of this stuff, we have the ability to deploy all of this stuff as and when customers and require it. We're very much looking at how we could further digitize that whole customer journey and make it a lot more predictable for airports and make it a lot more seamless for customers. And we think that will be very much a trend that we'll start to see.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if maybe the next generation of travel agents will be helping people plan for those kind of choices that they should make in advance. I thought of parking right away when you said that, because a lot more parking areas are asking for reservations and taking reservations and rewarding their customers in that way. It definitely helps you know what's coming, versus kind of being all over the map. And a lot of travelers don't think ahead to those kind of things, but it sounds like you'll be positioned well to help them think through that process.
For sure, and certainly we work with a number of travel agents and airlines that when people are booking their ticket, they can also add in a car parking spot at the same time. And we think that's a trend we'll absolutely see across the US, but we don't think it'll just start and stop at car parking. There's lots of other things that people could pre-book in advance to make their whole customer journey a little bit more predictable, a little bit more seamless, hopefully a little bit more enjoyable. And if there's a good value exchange there, hopefully it's a win-win for both the customer and for the airports.
So here's an important question for you. And looking ahead, how is MAG helping airports bounce back?
Well, a big thing that we're starting to work with airports is trying to envisage what this customer journey of the future could look like. We've done a lot of work trying to think about how to digitize that customer journey. How could we take technology to help make the operation more predictable? How could we use the technology to give customers more choice of ways to travel, ways to book things in advance? We're certainly trying to think about the new challenges that will come up about how do you maintain social distancing in an airport, for example, a very difficult challenge to overcome. But we very much think the future of travel will become more and more technologically driven. But what we also think is it's unlikely that a customer coming to an airport is going to download 15 different apps to experience that airport experience. So airports are going to have to take the lead in terms of creating that platform for concessionaires, et cetera, to interact with. But we also think, people travel between lots and lots of different airports. And so it's equally unlikely that they're going to download 15 different apps to experience 15 different airports. So we've been building something called My Airport, which helps, facilitate that customer journey no matter where you're traveling. But at the same time, keeps the customer relationship and keeps the customer revenue with the airport that you're going to. So from a customer's point of view, it's totally seamless, but it works from an airport point of view as well. And that's very much what we've been working with airports. And it's this downtime that allows you to kind of take a time out, totally reimagine what the future may look like. And we've been working very hard. We've got 200 or so people, just less than 200 people in our digital team who've been building lots of new capabilities and applications to reimagine this journey of the future. And that's very much what we're working with airports. So any airport in the US that, is facing into these challenges, thinking that they may want to digitize their future customer experience, of course, we're very happy to work with them to try and bring that to fruition.
In your opinion, how soon or, at what point should airports start making those kinds of changes to get ready for the next phase of travel as a result of this pandemic?
Yeah, I don't think you can't start early enough, quite honestly. I mean, the good thing is we've been building the digital capability for the last 5 years. So we've got it ready to deploy in our own airports, and we've already deployed it in a number of airports across the US. So the good news is airports won't have to start from scratch, but nevertheless, even just reimagining this takes some time and effort. You've got to join together the commercial side, the operational side, the airlines, all the concessionaires, as well as, of course, the passengers who drive all of this. So the earlier people start, the better, particularly as, a lot of things right now are very unpredictable. We don't know when things will come back online. It's likely to be in a phased approach for sure. So, whilst we've got this downtime, now's a great time to start planning for the future.
Yeah, and speaking of planning, do you in your company, do you have any projects on the horizon that you're adapting now?
We are continuing to we'd won some business for new escape lounges and things like that. So we're continuing with those. We're still very committed to this market. So we're continuing there. We've got our digital services deployed at a number of airports already. So we're looking to improve the capabilities within the modules they've already got deployed, but also looking at opportunities to deploy new modules within that digital ecosystem, as well as working with new airports who have neither our escape lounges or our digital capabilities. So, we think we're actually excited about the future. I think it's uncertain for sure. No one really knows what the timescales are looking like. But one way or another, air travel is hugely important. It's important for tourism. It's important for business. It's important for cargo. And so whilst it may look different, no doubt it will bounce back and will continue to be the economic growth catalyst that we've known it to be in the past.
Well, there are a lot of beautiful places to see in the world, so we hope it gets back online sooner than later, of course. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Martin, and we appreciate getting your perspective.
No problem. Thank you very much for talking to me, and stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.